Let's talk about facts when I say that I've been here a while. Walk in my shoes, I can tell you, you won't make a mile. I am the judge and the jury, so put them on trial. Murder is foul, allow me to teach a new theory, the purpose is vile. There's no coming back, so you can eat shit with a smile. I've been in the game, ran up the bag, just to put it in the pile. Create the frame, bought up the land.
See, that's the whole discussion we was having about shit like that, right?
It is what it is, man. You know?
What was the discussion?
Can you good?
Oh, y'all ain't watched the show.
I did. I watched some of it.
You heard
Watch
me?
the show.
She said what was the discussion?
That was a good cleanup.
Nah,
She
they
tried
was
to
just
clean
talking
it up.
about. Yeah, that was good.
Listen, I watched some of it.
No, that was
He was
good.
busy.
did.
He was busy.
I'm very busy.
Nah, he was
Just
just
for
talking.
my baby over here.
Okay.
My baby been going through something right now. You know,
Yeah.
Black women have a tendency to smile when they really want to cry. And they take on a lot of things, a lot of obstacles in their life, and it's not just work related, but we have to be strong. We have to smile. We have to keep our shoulders up. And she's been going through a lot. She's smiling right now.
I am.
But she's been going through a lot. So when you see me in here with my computer, and then when I briefed her about what I wrote out for the computer, because I gotta hold her down when she's down.
Well, we're gonna hold you down too.
That's a partnership.
No, that's
Partnership.
what's up.
There's nothing wrong
No,
with that at
definitely.
all.
I've never been in a space like I am right now. I think.
I think we need to start the show.
Oh,
He's rolling. He's rolling on
He's
it.
rolling?
Yeah, because we
Listen.
can always jump back. Yeah, go, bro.
The
Go.
way she's gonna hold
Go,
you down,
go,
we're
go.
gonna hold you down too. Because
Yes.
that's part of the problem. We need to hold each other down. And we're
Exactly.
not doing that. We're losing each other too much.
That's true.
You know what I'm
and I
saying?
think it's a part of saying what you need, because oftentimes, like she said, we continue to smile
Right.
when we actually do need assistance. Like, I'm at the point where I know I need grief counseling. Like, I'm not sleeping that night. I'm not eating the way I used to. Like, my life has changed completely.
Wow.
Just to give you a little backstory, my line sister, I pledge AKA, but she was murdered.
Oh.
Traumatic death.
Whoa.
Traumatic death. And I'm lost for words. Like, and even though I wasn't there, the shit is affecting me
Right.
on a day-to-day. The last month has been hell for me.
Wow.
So I think, but I'm making sure that I say what I need from the people that I need it from, and keeping my circle tight,
Yeah.
and making sure that they know, like, no, I'm not okay.
Yeah.
Because it's hard to say when you're not okay.
It
Absolutely.
is. It is.
Yeah,
It's very
so-
hard. And
I appreciate you.
Always. I like I said, I never seen her like this. I call her today. She's like, I'm in the bed. I'm like, all right, you in the
All
bed.
day. All day.
I call her again an hour later. I'm in the bed. So at the end of the day, I have to hold down her. I'm on her team. You know, we have a small team. I'm on her team, so it's my duty to take care of her and make sure she's good.
Yeah.
She's articulated once to me, twice to me. It is what it is. I tease her, you don't answer the phone. I cut that out too. It's
Yeah,
okay if you don't answer the
I
phone.
hear y'all. You say that, and I don't mean to cut you off, but I hear you say that on your. See, I listen to you.
I
listen to your
We appreciate you.
We for the record.
for the record, you feel me?
It
For
will
the record.
be.
No, but seriously, I listen to you ladies' podcast, and I hear you ladies say that, and it's funny that you say sometimes you laugh, and you know, it's something behind that. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? And
We laugh to keep from crying.
exactly.
Very
exactly.
Many
Seriously.
instances where
Exactly.
you're down.
But you know, I've heard you ladies say it was funny because I laughed at that. You ladies was like, "I be calling and you don't never answer." You like who? You like what? And I listened to you. You said I'll do better.
Yeah.
You was like I'll try to do better. And you know, sometimes people just, and I don't mean this, you know, disrespect, but sometimes people need that space, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because people deal with grief in a lot of different ways.
Right.
And to touch on, we just recently had a show when I talked to him, and it's like how you're dealing with it. I stated how I'm numb to it.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
And it's like shit happened. And it's just like a regular day. You know what I mean? Like I've lost so many people, and it's just like, yo, so and so, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if
Are
they're
we
not
normalizing it?
Right.
Normalizing
Yeah.
exactly what
that's
happened.
that's not good. We should
trauma.
none of us should be exactly.
What is it, doctor? What is the trauma?
Yeah,
called?
doc. What is it?
Why y'all put me on the spot?
No, what is it called?
PTSD.
PTSD.
Right.
And we
But it was
actually-
something
yeah, you talked
specific
about
for
that.
Black people.
Oh, for us, it's post-traumatic. Oh my gosh,
You and
post-traumatic.
Nana had it when y'all were
Yeah,
walking in the march.
I forgot.
So it's
But it's
different from
something
stress
specific for us.
disorder.
Yeah, it's
That's wild.
It's a little
specific
bit
to
deeper than that
Black
for
people.
us.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's another thing that I stated is that it's post-traumatic stress disorder, but there's nothing post about it for us. You understand
Because
what I'm
we're in
saying?
it
We're
presently.
continuously
We're in it
We're in it right now.
right. You know what I mean?
We're in it right now.
That's crazy. Like when I heard him say the word numb, like it's just a regular word, right? But
Yeah.
you have to understand the context that it's being delivered in.
Yeah.
When he
Right.
says numb, I felt that. I told him, I'm like,
Yeah, he
you
called
know
me
what?
about
So
that shit.
many people, we don't, as Black men, you grow up and you're told, don't cry,
Yeah.
stand up,
Yeah.
move along. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? You're
Right,
gonna be
right,
all
right.
right, and then you never get a chance to actually process what happened,
Right.
and you never break down fully.
Yeah.
And that's a problem right now for us specifically as Black men. And I know as Black women, you guys deal with everything.
I think we
You have the
carry a
world
lot.
coming.
We do.
Yeah, we carry a lot.
The saying carry a lot, that's an
That's
understatement.
an
We carry
a lot.
That's a huge understatement.
And
You know?
not to take away from other people who are carrying things, but I always tease her and I'm like, listen, you know, when I became, and I don't know if you would know this about me, but when I became the woman that I am today, I was with my dad, who's a military man.
Mhm.
He's a man who lived by those same principles that you just articulated. And it was just like, hold your emotions in, beat it back for your family,
Right.
don't show weakness. And so I've learned to be like that. And so my mates, people who date me, they're like,
Yeah.
you guys an emotion? What's up with you?
You emotionless.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you emotionless? But I'm the most caring person ever. I take
Yeah.
care of everybody around me without
So-
worrying about myself.
So let me ask you, are they intimidated by you at that point? Because you're so cold and you're holding everything
Cold.
in? I mean,
Wait, I didn't say I was
hold on,
cold.
nigga,
I
I'm
have a
not
heart.
cold.
I
nigga.
know-
Like I'm not cold. Yeah, right. Yo, you fucking cold.
I know you didn't say that, but I'm processing that your statement as what they would think. You know what I mean? Because when we approach a woman, and if the woman's kind of standoffish and just
It's like
bottled
damn.
in, dealing with her
Yeah.
own emotions, we go, "Oh, she's cold, man." You know what I'm saying?
Right, right.
So I mean,
I think
do they?
guys who have been with me, dated me, or been around me would say like, I can relate to Jay. That's like my best friend. I feel like I can tell her anything. It's almost like being with your homeboy,
Okay.
Yeah.
but it's a woman. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
Like
right.
I do all the womanly things, but I can still vibe with you.
Right,
and the
right.
energy that I share is like, we're not gonna stress that. That's too crazy. Let's think logically about
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
And so it's refreshing for some men.
Yeah.
But for me, as I begin to get older, you know, past my 30s, I'm just like, how do I still reconnect with the woman that I am, being that I grew up with my father when I start to, not that I wasn't with my mom,
Yeah.
but as I became a woman, when I started to grow into the woman that I am, I was with a man.
Yeah.
I was with a man. So some of the things that women cry about and they hoot and holler about, I'm just like, come on, man, that don't make no
It's
logical
just-
sense.
Right.
And me looking
That's
in, I
crazy.
think there's other things that men are intimidated by that she offers that are not her being a logical person. Her stature, where she is in life, what she's achieved, her education. I could be wrong, but
I'm saying we were watching this podcast, if I can bring it up. These guys from out,
Yeah, that's cool.
these guys from out Atlanta, and they were talking about how if you are a woman who has reached a certain status, you focus on your career, that you're kind of cut off, like from the pool. It puts you at the bottom of the pool in terms of guys wanting to be with you. And so I think when I kept researching, I kept looking at their podcast. I'm like, what is this about? It's about what's the term? Hypergamy. Hypergamy.
Okay.
So you guys know what hypergamy is?
Nah, please, whatever.
Yeah, so it's like social science, right? And hypergamy talks about how, on many instances, women marry up socially as
Right.
well as
Education.
financially,
Right.
educationally. You marry up. So for us to be up already, and we've
seen that with our white colleagues.
I got that.
You-
Like when I went to all white school, so when I was in high school, all I heard was the girls saying, "Oh, I'm going to college so that I can find my husband, so I could find my mate, so I can get married."
That's where life starts.
When I'm going to college so I can make more money for my family.
I gotta make it. I gotta make better for
I
my
ain't thinking
family.
about getting married.
I mean, that speaks to the post that we saw today.
Yeah.
The New York Post
Exactly.
said that more black women
should date
and
white
marry
men.
white men.
What, did you see that?
Was it related to hypergamy?
No, it was it was pretty much based on, they were saying like pretty much like 50% of black men don't graduate from college. You know what I mean? Which you have more black women, quote unquote, successful, and black women tend to, I never look at a black man as being settled for. You feel what I'm saying?
Right.
Like that's not how I look at us. But they say more women tend to say, I'll marry an unsuccessful black man than, you know what I mean, than before I'll marry outside of my race.
Right.
Well, that
You
speaks to
understand
the
what I'm saying?
point that hypergamy for us, well, I'm in a different situation because I'm in a lesbian relationship, but hypergamy for the women in my family doesn't work for us because the men that we're successful, right? But the men that we support, that we marry, come from the same environment that we do. And so it is people who been in the streets, people who don't graduate from college, but that's who we're around. That's who we love. That's who
on a daily basis.
And that's pretty much why I can't look down on that situation. And you know, sometimes with me, stats are just numbers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't really deal with stats too much.
But a lot of the stats lately are crazy. Like you talk about, I mean, that's one stat. But then we talk about the preservation of the black woman. Like there's 200,000, maybe a little over 200,000 black women, or no, women in general that go missing, seriously. And 100,000 of that 200,000 number are black girls and women.
Right.
That's a stat, but I mean, even if it's 50, why aren't we talking about it?
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So the conversation becomes the preservation of black women. Like, what are we doing? You know, as black men, we're supposed to be the protectors.
Thank you, Jesus.
Well, and that goes to the point
Who's protecting us?
That's where I was going with the whole Will Smith thing.
Man,
Like,
who's protecting us? Hold on.
I'm gonna hold it.
Please.
Hold my thought.
Well,
look, Auntie speaking.
No,
Auntie
please.
speaking.
We can get back to Will Smith, but please, I want to hear it.
Protecting us.
Who's
Who's protecting
We're protecting ourselves.
protecting
ourselves.
ourselves. I feel like
You
we
know-
are protecting ourselves.
And then that throws up another stat. So Chicago, was it 80% of the black single moms that are raising families?
Yeah.
80% of black single moms. Where are the men?
well,
We have to do better.
Yeah.
it's
you know,
it's and that's
No
that's
disrespect to the guy.
No disrespect, but
No,
we
no,
have
no.
to do better. I'm saying it for black men. We have to do better.
No.
Thank you.
we do have to do better. But with our situation, I think it's deeper. You understand what I'm saying? Because if we touch back on the whole New York Post shit, you understand what I'm saying? This shit could get deep because it could go back to like
Slavery. No.
Yeah,
fact.
Yeah.
that's a fact.
Fact.
That's a fact.
You know what I mean? When they say shit like the black 50% of black men don't graduate from college, it's like that shit happened a long time ago. Like when you can go back to redlining and shit.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Where they didn't
Definitely,
allow us
yes.
to have
Yeah.
that type of shit. You understand what I'm saying? If we had to jump, then we would be equal. We would be if we were equal like that, then they would be fucked. These
Listen,
numbers would be crazy,
I
bro.
get mad every time I ride through. I'm in Bel Air, Beverly Hills. I'm like, yo, we were never afforded the opportunity
Never.
to get
To be
the-
great.
Never.
To be great at all.
Never.
Never.
Exactly.
This is shit that was passed down from generation to generation.
Right.
These homes, like, been in people's families for a long time. I'm riding through the hills. Like, my family never had the opportunity.
Right.
Right.
None of us did. We got it from the mud. We all get it from
got
you.
it from the mud.
First off, ladies and gentlemen, let's applaud Jungle Rose.
Yes.
Let's do this. Let's do this.
We are here. We are
Let's do this.
here.
To the crowd.
Marlisha's here. Dr. Marlisha is here. And Principal Jamie's here.
You know what? That's what just jumping into.
Yeah. It was just
Jumping
good.
into
Like
it.
we probably a couple minutes into the show, but
good.
it was just good. We had to dive into it,
Yes,
but
a formal
that kind of
introduction
led right
is
into what you were
warranted.
saying. You know what I mean? Just
I was told once that a young black girl, once they understand their fullest potential, that's when they turn into a black woman. And then that black woman, when she understands her worth and she masters her potential, she then becomes a queen.
I agree.
Now, I'm proud to say.
you spitting that shit. Let me get a drink.
I know it.
That shit. Hold on. That shit.
The stats don't lie.
I'm
I'ma sip to that.
I'm proud to say that we are sitting with queens.
Right. That's a fact.
We appreciate you.
That's
You
a
know what I
fact.
mean? And it's,
That's a fact.
and you can say it's the rose that grew through concrete. And we are sitting with queens.
Yes.
Thank you.
That's a fact.
And here's the thing. We need, as black men, we need to help certain black women. Not y'all, because y'all are good.
Yeah.
We got you. You know, we need to help constantly remind black women of their worth.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Because they, like y'all said earlier, you've been holding on, you've been pushing through so much. You have to be you have to protect the home. You have to keep the home. You have to keep yourselves fine. You know, understand yourselves. I mean, you guys go through so much.
Yeah. And I've never felt more worthy than in the recent years to be a black woman than I have right now.
No doubt.
Occupying white spaces.
No doubt.
Being embarrassed of where I come from, but finally stepping in and realizing who I am and the power that I have as a black woman. That's when I was able to fully come into who I am.
Yes.
Because she honestly didn't want to do this podcast.
I didn't.
But a vision came to me.
Wait, what? Nah, just.
No, I didn't. I'm
no,
not.
that's real,
like,
that's real.
I
That's
play
real.
the back scene like you.
I get it. Yeah, but she just said something that really, I get that.
Yeah.
Understanding her power.
Yeah.
I have an 8-year-old daughter, and I preach to her. I don't preach to her like in that way. I tell her every day when we drop her off at school, you know, be great, nothing less. You know, she says it to me now. We've been doing this since day one. But understanding your power, understanding for you guys with this podcast, understanding that there's someone right now or someone tomorrow that's listening to those words that you're helping that person remind themselves, I have power.
Yeah.
That's a
You
fact.
know, I mean,
That's a fact.
you may be down, but you're not out.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You're not out. So
Yeah.
I mean, this podcast that y'all got, let it grow.
Yeah.
We're trying to stay faithful in what we're doing
Yes.
and still maintain our professional lives and our personal lives and things of that nature. But speaking of superpower, it's something that we preach, it's some principles that we stand on, right? I can think about when I was young. Somebody said to me, "You too bossy. You always got to be a teacher. You want to do this. You want to do that." And the sad part is, it's kind of sad in a sense because some of our superpowers get diminished. We get disciplined for some of the superpowers that we have.
Right.
Those are the very same superpowers that make us into the queens that you just described us as possibly
Exactly.
being in the event that we recognize what our superpowers are.
Right.
And one of mine was I talk a lot. But when I was in school, I always got in trouble for talking. And then I developed social anxiety. And so now I'm afraid to talk. And that's why I didn't want to do the podcast. But now I'm coming into my womanhood.
Absolutely.
And I'm able to do it.
So,
And I forced that too behind. Let's be honest, you gotta keep it real out here.
Yeah, you
Behind
forced
the scene,
me.
I'm like, you better start talking more. I'm not gonna say anything.
listen,
The
You're
bossy,
doing good today.
bossiness.
I dealt with a lot of shit
Yeah.
with business.
Yeah.
And me in front of a camera, you know, me in front of a camera is just like, he knows it. We talked about it. But for some reason, I wanted to do this podcast. And for the exact reason of what you two were just talking about, you didn't want to do it because you felt a certain way. But our reason for this podcast, for the record, is so that you can tell that story. Because you're a young, black, powerful queen, doctor.
Thank you.
And at some point, somebody gonna watch this
Yeah.
and thrive off of your story. And this is why we wanted y'all here, because we talked and we said we talk about who we want on the show. You know what I mean? And who we want to deal with. And I'm like, yo, women's empowerment. We talking about a young black doctor and a young black principal that I would technically see in a club and won't look at you like that. This is just the real reality of shit. Like, you know what I mean? If I seen y'all both in the club or somewhere, I would never, and that's the, I guess, what stigmatism that we have with each other. You know what I mean? And it goes back to what you were just saying, like when you're when you're young and you want to do, you know what I mean, they take your superpowers away. You feel what I'm saying?
The people closest to us, I'm sorry to
No,
interrupt.
it's the truth. It's the truth.
Yeah.
It's the truth, right? You know what I mean? But I just say this to you is that let that superpower flow. Like you're taking it from yourself at this point. You understand what I'm saying? Like you gotta let that shit out. Like you who you are. You strong, and we all go through things. You know what I mean? I'm sure it's a lot other than what I know about. You know what I mean? But you gotta let that shit out, and you gotta be you. I never wanted to be in front of a camera. Like, you know what
that's
I mean?
real
Like, this
shit.
camera shit not for me.
And I'm glad you decided to go through with it because, like you said, people are thriving off of us, but people are thriving off of you too. Your story, our stories are not for us.
Right.
They're for other people.
Can't take them with you.
No.
Nah,
They're for other people.
I don't know. And you think about them, and you think about how we try to hide these stories and try to, just curl up in corners with these stories. And these stories are like trials and tribulations. Like, these are the shits that make us great. Like, if we go back to talking about like slavery and shit, like not for nothing, but black men, black women. Our shit is from the mud, literally, bro. You understand what I'm saying?
Nah, I get it.
Like, through slave, like, we still fighting.
We're still
but yet
fighting.
we're still, you know what I mean? We're still competing. It's never over. It's never over. Like they said, once we figure out the power that we have, bro, this shit is over.
It's over. It's over.
This shit is over. Like, you know what I mean?
Jungle Rose, our goal is this. We looked at it, like I said, I had a vision or whatever. I had a dream. I woke her up. We were in a hotel.
We was in a hotel.
And I'm just like, and Milford don't have good hotels, so forget that. But anyways.
What was y'all doing in a hotel in Milford anyway?
Listen.
We in a hotel in Milford. She came up here. Why were we in the hotel?
Just for a girls' night. I think it was.
Girls' night. I don't know.
Random.
Nigga, we not having a guys' night. Our guys' night was way different from that.
We don't.
We're not doing that
No
shit.
liquor involved. We were searching. The funny
Random.
thing is we had rolled by Churchill South.
We rode by their jungle.
We rode by
The newly jungle or the old jungle?
It was broken down.
It was broken
Okay,
down.
the new joint, the lot.
The broken
Y'all
down.
rode by the jungle lot.
I got a little teary eye when I wrote. I was like, what happened to, to see where you grew up
Right.
at, to see the concrete broken down into dust particles. You're like,
Yeah.
it's almost like your history is being
Just
swept away.
completely erased.
Yeah.
It is.
And so I got a little teary eye. We go to the hotel or whatever. She came in town. I don't know if it was were you living in Atlanta or Cali at the time?
I think I was living in Cali for the first time. Yeah.
So she came in. We're in town. I wasn't engaged or married or anything by then. And so we're there. We're talking, and we're talking about Jungle Rose, and I'm just like,
It wasn't Jungle Rose then. It was Concrete Rose.
it was
then.
Concrete Rose.
It was
Oh,
Concrete Rose.
Okay.
But we were like, I'm like, we have an obligation. Like we're doing good for ourselves, right? At first, sometimes when you leave where you're from and you grew up, and Marlisha didn't experience as much as I did. When I decided that I needed to be into my books, when I decided I needed to take courses at Yale when I was in high school, the hood don't always embrace that. They think you're trying to be better than you.
Right.
Right?
We can
And so
talk.
you
We can
feel
talk
a little-
about that.
So you feel a little rejected, right?
Facts.
You feel a little rejected, and it's just like, I love you guys. I know where I came from.
Yeah.
And I will never shun. I don't want to say never, because I'll tell you about that. I love where I came from. I love the rhythm that it gives me. I love the way that the way I dress. Everything is just different because of the two worlds that I've been exposed to.
And that goes back to what JB was saying in regards to seeing us in the club and not knowing who we are.
Right.
Like, that's the versatility.
We're bopping to the same music you're bopping, so you get it.
Right.
The flow is different. And I love the rhythm that the hood has given me, and I love the perspective that it's given me from where I come from.
Yeah.
But when we got to that hotel room, I said to Marley, I got a vision. I woke up in like 3 o'clock in the morning, 3 something in the morning. I don't want to be too specific. And I'm like, we got to do a podcast. I don't know how I come up with a podcast. Like, we have no technology.
Listen, I had to learn on YouTube and shit.
That's what we gotta do.
I said, we owe it to women who come from places like us to give back to them, give them the tools, we have to dispel the narrative that was put out from us. We're too promiscuous. We're too
bossy, angry.
They sexify us if we're wearing shorts and they have somebody else has on shorts, but we look like we're trying to be adults. You understand what I'm saying? And so I'm like, we owe it to our community. God has blessed us in a different type of way. We owe it to our community to give back. We have to give the women the tools because we had to navigate.
And the resources.
We had to navigate we had to build the trail. You know? Our parents supported us, but they didn't know how to support us to get to where we were going.
And you could see that dynamic from the show because Jay was that for me. Like, my parents didn't go to college. College wasn't really an option for them. So this was the person who I knew that went to college that I wanted to be like. This was the role model for me. Well, it worked. It worked. But having someone that you could see actually do something that you want to do, even if it's not in the same profession, like seeing her do her thing, seeing her be successful at going to school, like that made me want to go to college.
Because we're automatically strict from that. You understand what I'm saying? We don't get a lot of examples in our neighborhood, bro. Our examples are the products of our environment. You feel what I'm saying? And
that goes to show, like, our examples. So in the 80s, when your example was the drug dealer, everybody wanted the nice cars. You wanted to have the money. That's what you did. That's how you did. And it's representation matters. Representation matters. That's what I'm trying to say. And so seeing her do her thing, it perpetuated. And so you have people looking at you, and just know you still have people watching you.
No, and the hood has accepted me back because
welcome back.
Yo, when did you get kicked out? Like, when the fuck did you get kicked out?
You know, women get a little emotional. But it was like, we're reading Hood Feminism, right?
Yes.
And they talk we talk. What's up?
What's up? You read it?
No. No, it's just that you said hood feminism. I want to hear about that because I'm interested in feminism itself.
But we were never included in that feminism.
Because it's a lot of different definitions. So let's get to it. Go ahead, but let me know about this that you're talking about.
Yes. So Nikki, in her book.
So Nikki in her book says that how when you
your book?
No.
Oh, the book that you're reading.
Nikki Kendall.
Because you're writing a book too, and I want to hear.
So Nikki, pressure.
Okay, let's go.
You got time.
Ghostwriters in here.
Take your time.
Listen.
Ghostwriter.
Ghostwriter.
Listen, if y'all know any editors. Ghostwriters.
I told God he put us in his space for a reason. You already know what it is. So you guys can't get rid of us. But anyways.
That's the magazine right there. Yeah. So we don't act like we don't put you in the magazine.
Oh.
Article coming.
We gotta talk about that.
So
let's go.
So she was saying how sometimes when you decide to be the nerd or you decide to take the courses at Yale, right? I'm taking the anatomy classes at Yale. It's dead bodies everywhere. You know, not dead bodies because they got shot, but it's dead bodies.
Right. Yeah.
Cadavers
in there. And so I had to make the decision in school that I needed to do better.
Right.
Because when you don't speak the language, and this is what's in the book, you're not afforded the opportunities.
It's not afforded the opportunities. So I had to do that. And it was hard. In high school was hard for me because I was trying to still be with my peoples. And I was still trying to be with the people who were who were focused on their schooling.
Right.
And so it felt like I wasn't being real. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so at first they couldn't understand, oh, Jamie acting different. She don't come around. She don't do this. She not, you know, when I came home, you know, my mother said to me, she said, why are you talking white?
Say it. Go ahead, say it.
No. We gonna get back.
So I'm like this. I'm still using a slang. I'm like, let me make sure I'm come up on the slang. I'm still using the slang, but this is what she said to me, and she said it to me jokingly, but she didn't realize it penetrated my soul.
Right.
You know, I'm like, is my card being revoked? You know?
Take it.
And so
You went and stood in the mirror and repeated the same
Yeah,
shit you
yeah.
said.
I'm that nigga.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So once I became who I was and I began to matriculate through the system really fast, God has shined a light on me. Boom, 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 boom. Everything I prayed for, I want to be a first grade teacher. Boom, boom, boom.
Mhm.
And so, and I don't say that bragging. I just say like the power is beyond me. And what's meant for you is just meant for you.
And you gotta manifest it. I heard you say.
Yeah.
You saying what you wanted.
And so I did it, and then I realized, and I'll just tell you about a quick story that happened today. I realized I'm like, wow, like I'm accepted again. I was in Stop and Shop, and her cousin particularly came up to me. She's like, I just want to say I'm proud of you. I just want to say like you make me. I'm back in school now.
Right.
I just want to say you doing your thing. That's so thorough. And it's like.
The
I walked
light
away in
switch.
my little shopping cart. It was kind of high because you know, I was like, "Whoa, really?"
That's where it's at. That's where like the
You
bar
know,
right there.
Not knowing
that
that I was doing something. Yeah, it was like this. It was like this. I was trying to see it.
You turn on her switch. That's the light switch that just clicks on, and you decide. That person decides, I need to be better. You know, I need to watch you. I need to listen to you. That's that light switch. And when we go back to the, why do you sound white? What does that mean?
Right.
What does that really
I'm just
mean?
saying, what does that mean? Because sometimes when I'm in the room with no one who looks like me, I feel like I don't articulate myself enough.
But we do have a tendency to code switch. I'm not gonna deny it.
To do what?
Code switch.
Okay.
I will put on a white face. Hi, how are you? Like I will. Let me correct myself.
Not white voice. You will
I will articulate every word and
enunciate every sound more directly so the crowd can understand you.
yes. So
sorry.
it's the code switching.
Yeah.
But we stopped doing that too.
Right.
Show up in the space how you are.
How you are.
Because this shit is always interesting to me how we sit and we talk about us as Black people being successful, but we talk as if it's something different. You understand what I'm saying? Like you say, like why do, like you said, what the fuck is talking white? Like, you know.
But it's always us that are so quick to point that out.
Yeah.
So it's like a
That's
part,
what I mean.
a part of stealing your superpowers.
Yeah.
Like bro,
That's what
like,
I
if
mean,
say
like, why-
something- If I use a word, if I use disenchanted, I was yo, why you talking white, man? Yo, when you reading books now? You smart?
Yeah.
Like so?
Right.
Is that a bad?
You're
that's
trying to take away your superpowers.
When does smart become like a bad thing?
that's what I mean.
You know what I
That's
mean?
what it's doing.
Our drive or determination to be successful is always I think we're channeled in this small space.
Right.
You understand what I'm
We've
saying?
been conditioned to only
Exactly.
accept less than. Less than.
We don't see greatness enough. I'm sorry, I don't mean to.
No,
We don't
you're
see
fine.
greatness enough to where we can just take it in and excel. You understand what I'm saying? When we see you doing different, when we see you reading books, when I'm across from you cracking jokes or some shit, it's like you're a nerd. What makes her a nerd? She's being successful.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? Like everybody's different. I personally don't judge people. That's just not something that I do. You understand what I'm saying? But everybody's different. And we tend to find what's different to be weird or unacceptable. You know what I mean? And I think that shit holds us down.
It
You know what I
does.
mean?
But then we have people like you. You've always talked to me about how proud you were of me. You weren't
Right.
always around me, but when you were around me, of course you show love. It's like fam, but
Right.
it's just like you've always said that. So those little pockets of small things that were done helped me feel
you
good
going.
about
Right.
who I was.
Right.
Keeps you going.
But I also think that it goes back to having representation and seeing somebody that looks like you come from the same hood doing it. If nobody in the hood is doing it, it's odd. It's weird.
Right.
It's-
True.
Right.
So
They can't
it's
connect
out
with
of the norm from your day to day.
Exactly.
So that's where it comes from in regards to speaking differently, enunciating, articulating. If that's what your norm is,
Right.
anything outside of your norm is odd, weird, different. So
Right.
we just gotta be more vigilant in letting our people know that it's okay to
be great.
be great.
Right.
That's where we want to go.
Right.
And to that point is exactly what I was talking to Jay about before we got here. Is like, you know the hood a little more than I know the hood because I was pushed a little more forward and taken out of that. So
Next generation.
it's generational. Like,
We are the same person.
Yo, you know, it's interesting that you said that. It's interesting because, you know, I flashed back to when we was talking about that.
Right.
And I swear to you, I literally just said that when she was saying that, I was like, yo, it's crazy because they're two, like them two, you two are like the same, and me and her probably connect more.
that's dope.
It's different.
It's your yin and
That's
yang.
dope.
Yes, yes, yes.
But we appreciate what you guys have been through and still can relate. We're not
Absolutely.
that far removed
Right.
that we can't
Right.
relate.
Right.
And I think that is so dope. And as Black women from the hood, I think that differentiates us from somebody whose parents were middle class and they never experienced. I have a cousin who does not know anything about the hood and could not tell you anything. And not to say that she's a bad person, but I wouldn't want that experience to be mine.
Exactly.
I would rather
Exactly.
be able to
Right.
say, I know this environment and I know this environment.
Right.
And if I want to pull up to the hospital with my Jeezy on, I'm going to pull up to the
Right,
hospital
right,
with my
right.
Jeezy on.
Right.
That's where the AB nickname comes from. Just being able to survive and live in both worlds.
Right.
Yeah.
The A and you know,
Right.
I can go in the hood and flip that A switch
Right,
on
right,
whatever you want,
right.
whatever you need.
Right.
And that's what
He
Jungle Rose
he
is
wants
about.
to be a Jungle Rose.
That's what
superstar.
Jungle
See?
That is
Seriously.
We're about navigating and occupying the spaces,
Exactly.
coming from both worlds. It's a hard
Thriving.
thing,
I
though.
switch the B switch on, and then it's,
Yeah.
it's boardroom time. And
Yeah.
it's what are we talking? What are we
Yeah.
doing?
Right.
What are we negotiating? Like,
Yeah, and it has to happen more often than not. And
Yeah.
unless we're talking about this conversation, we don't know that other people are experiencing this.
Right.
and
So,
to your point, not to cut you off, but that also goes back to the home.
yeah,
Black men, we need to figure out how to become present
yeah,
because we just can't leave our little boys and our little girls
Yeah.
just blown in the wind. You figure it out on yourself. You know what I'm saying? We have to be present.
yeah.
And we have to be responsible, and we have to let our women know that we got you. We're there for you.
Yeah.
Cry when you need to cry. Break down when you need to. I'm gonna break down with you,
Yeah.
but we gonna get up together.
Yeah. And I think there is a difference. I'm just going to speak from my story, and I can't speak for my mother and my father, but I think my father was absent from my home because he was trying to provide with the
Exactly.
situation that
Exactly.
he had.
Right.
And so that left my mom. My father was incarcerated for 15, 20 years of my life. Not to say that he didn't want to be a part of it and he wanted to leave my mom a single mom. Yes, she was a single mom, but he did that in trying to provide.
Right.
And so I think our men need to know that whatever the situation is, you still have support. You still are able to come through that and know that once you get out of whatever situation you're in, continue to thrive. Continue to try to make ends with your family. Try to not make up for lost time, but do your part to do what you need to do to make up for whatever the case may be, because your child does need you.
Yes.
I need to talk to her like every day.
Listen, we
seriously,
here.
every
Look,
day.
this
Here.
is divine timing.
This is like my twin
Now,
sister. I'm
no,
just
no,
That's
for
what
the
it- that's what it
But-
is.
Jungle Rose, for the record.
For the record, it's
but
Jungle
just for
Rose,
the record,
you know.
5 years ago, I probably wouldn't have been
She
proud
wouldn't
to
have talked
say.
about
I wouldn't have
that.
said that.
Yeah, because I got an interesting
I'm
question.
glad
I
you
wanted to
said it.
ask you.
Yeah,
I'm
ask
sorry.
anything.
No, I said I'm glad she has.
Yeah.
She did say it. I'm glad.
At what point in your life or what age did you realize it was okay? And before you answer, I don't mean to cut you off. Like, as a young woman, being raised by a single mother, but like you said, you understand now that what your father went through was because he was trying to provide.
Yeah, my father is always gonna be my hero. Like, always gonna be my hero. And
Love him.
yes, and just to know, like, I really didn't know. Like, they shielded me. I was protected. Like, I knew the hood, but I didn't know. When people say, "Oh, you're Landy's daughter," I didn't know what that meant. Like,
Right,
I'm
right.
Marlisha. This is who I
Yeah,
am.
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
Marley. Like, but it wasn't until a summer, and I think I was maybe 16 or 17. So I'm able to comprehend
Yeah.
what's going on. And so once I was able, I actually questioned her. I actually questioned her about what was said. Like someone came to me and was like, "Oh, you're Landy's daughter. You're so pretty." Blah blah blah. And I was like, "Yo, what is really going on? What? Why is everybody referring to me as my father's child and not my mother's?" Like, I was very protected in that sense. So I would say, like, even going to the prisons to visit my father as a child, like, that was hard in itself, but it never took away from who he was. Yeah. Like,
Daddy, daughter love.
And people, my mother protected us. Oh, your father's away. Like, never the reason. Never the reason. So, and I appreciate that now because it really allowed me to get into a space where I was able to comprehend when I got the full stories, newspaper articles, whatever was needed. Right. What was the question? I'm sorry.
No. You pretty much was like, nah. No, I was just you pretty much kind of answered that. I was just wondering, like, at what, and I think you said about around 16 or something. You're a teenager,
I think I was around 16.
Where you realize that it's okay, because some people probably would grow up with so in our black homes.
Yeah.
It's a lot of different dynamics when it comes to that. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because you get the mother that. Step away from that shit and just be like, I'm straight. Your father's locked up. On to the next nigga.
No, my mother was. They weren't even together during that time when he was locked away. But my mother made sure she had us there to visit every weekend.
Right, and that's what I mean. Like, some people wouldn't do if they're not together. It's like, yo, you locked up. It's a wrap. Like, you'll see your daughter when you come out. You understand what I'm saying?
My father
or you
has
might
so much power. Yeah, so much power in the jail. Like, if I got in trouble at home, I was still scared to go visit him.
Right.
You knew about
and it wasn't that he instilled fear in me, but I knew his role as a parent still remained. Like, and what he said went. Right. And my mother would support him and back him. That's the strong black woman, allowing him to hold down. Allowing him to have some say in his kid's life.
That's the queen.
Yeah.
That's the queen.
Oh, and knowing her role, like, knowing that she's doing this alone, but I still want you to be a part. And my story might be different from somebody's, but it's funny that you said that because I had someone come up to me and was like, I heard you talk about your dad and how he was incarcerated on the show. And I want you to know that it sat with me because the same thing happened with my father. And it made me want to have a better relationship with my dad. And I was like, wow. Like, just going back to the need for these types of podcasts.
Right, because some people wouldn't understand it. Some people just wouldn't take it in that way. You know what I mean? Most fathers go to jail, and it's like, yo, he had school, he had college. It's the same.
I was told that. He was in school.
That definitely probably was your error.
And then I'm a statistic. I wasn't supposed to make it. I'm not supposed to have any degrees.
None of us are responsible.
Well, not exactly.
Right. Like, I'm a child of an incarcerated parent.
You were supposed to be next.
You're
I'm supposed to
fail at that point.
I've never been arrested.
But look at you.
Thank you.
Go ahead, girl, Dr. Mom.
Like, you understand?
2 snaps.
That's we probably said it about 10 times, but that's why we're here.
Yeah. No, it feels so good. I never talk this much.
That's what we do here.
I never talk this much.
We want you to be comfortable.
You know, for the record, that's what we do.
It's breaking the
so for the record,
appreciate you guys.
y'all got me to talk, but
more than she's ever talked. Anybody who knows Jungle Rose, they're like, what?
We hear Jay all the time. Jay,
I've been looking at
say something. You need to talk.
This is good. We want it to be, you know what I mean?
We got to open up. Our job is done, man. Let's go.
Just let them rock. Like, yo.
No.
Take the whole
this
show.
is a great space. Y'all continue to do what you're doing.
Thank you.
Continue to do what you're doing.
We appreciate it.
And y'all are motivating to us to continue to do what we're doing. Motivation, definitely.
I've had a couple people come up to me and were like, yo, you really, like, giving us that straight up hood knowledge, just knowledge, period.
Yeah.
We just glad you're doing it, man. I know you like the 3rd, 4th one and whatever, man. Just keep doing it. I'm like, all right, because it's tough, balancing work life, relationships, and then having to do this. And I mean, it's important for us to be heard. It's important for you guys to be heard.
And let me just say this, it's very therapeutic.
It's definitely therapeutic.
And Jay and I started Jungle Rose. It wasn't Jungle Rose, it was Concrete Rose then. Let it go. picked it back up. And then when we picked it back up, it was in efforts to amplify Black voices. But the person who was doing it was a white woman.
Wisconsin.
A white woman
From the Midwest.
from the Midwest. We appreciate the tools that she gave us, but we're like, why is a white woman amplifying the voices? And she was trying to be an ally, but she could not relate to anything that we were.
I just don't see how that's possible.
I think we can have allies. I think people can be empathetic and understanding enough to be an ally.
Mm-hmm.
I have to have that hope, that wish. You know, even in the profession that I am, I don't see a lot.
We don't see people who look like us, so we have to sometimes rely on those who don't.
Well, you're that. You ladies are that.
Yeah,
You understand what I'm saying? We need more of that.
yeah.
Unfortunately, we also have that tendency to go back to that crab mentality.
I was about to say that. And then when you do see people who look like you, they could be older than you and then be intimidated that you're or feel as if you're coming for their spot.
Right. And they don't want to let you in whatsoever.
No.
And they want to pull you back down.
Yeah.
Thank
The
you.
little crab.
But how do we go? I'm sorry, go
No,
ahead.
I mean, it's the same thing. I go back to, like, the more we talk, the more I feel like we're twins here. Because it's the same
Look,
thing.
that's why
we gotta get our twin on. Let's
Seriously.
that's why we sit on the same side.
Seriously, I mean, but it's the same situation. Like,
You got black jeans in the car?
yeah. I've had,
I got black jeans in the trunk. Can we do a commercial break? Do a commercial break, Kenise.
it's crazy, but I've had
you doing?
similar situations where I've had certain mentors or certain business partners,
Yeah.
but everyone's trying to, like, cut side deals and do their certain things. But it took someone of the opposite color to be like, yo, let me show you how to do this.
Yeah.
And then the next thing you know, here comes the movies and the TV shows and the video games and stuff like
And
that.
that is an ally, like Jay
It's
said.
an
That's
ally.
that's an ally.
But why couldn't I get that from this guy who looks just like
It can
me?
be intimidating.
You know, but he wants to slit my throat and push me back. You know what I mean? So it's
But I know one of that goes just like how we have social media. We see things, and then there are opportunities that may be created from Instagram, Facebook, whatever the case may be. But then you scrolling like, ew, she doing this, ew, she doing that, or you'll big up her, or it's either one or the other.
yeah.
So how does feminism play a part in that with you ladies when it comes to that? Because, like, it's so I feel like it's a lot of different definitions when it comes to feminism. I heard you immediately say, like, that wasn't the part of feminism we play.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's different views on it. Like, you know what I mean?
So with feminism, there's a gamut, right? But in reading this hood feminism, and I encourage anyone to read it. It's a really good read.
You encourage me to read it?
Yeah, it's a really good read. I'm an avid reader, but
Okay.
what she was saying, which is so true, is that white women benefited from civil rights. Yeah. And civil rights from us as Black people fighting for rights.
Putting the work in.
But then when it came to issues that particularly affected Black women, we were disconnected from the suffrage, the women's rights, and things like that. So we were never included in the white woman's fight for women's rights, although they benefited from civil rights.
Right.
And so we've always been taken, Black people in general, men, women, whatever, we've always been taken out of the
Equation.
Excuse me,
We've been
equation.
taken out of the equation and the
this-
conversation.
Yeah,
I've been
we
thinking a
do
little
it. We all do it. It's
You
real.
know, taken out of the equation and the conversation.
Yeah.
And but the bottom line is, we are the conversation, and we can't you can't shut it down.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, so go ahead.
No, I was just saying that people benefit off of Black culture and continue to benefit off Black culture, but until when it's good for them, but then when it's bad, it's like they don't want to have no part with us.
Right.
So feminism for me is that, right? The history, 1865, whenever it was, when a war had ended, women trying to fight into the world of education, into the workplace, etc. But for me, feminism is me. If you notice what I'm doing here for Marlisha, you look beautiful today, Marlisha.
Right.
I love the way you're talking today.
Empowering.
And I'm looking at her and I'm smiling to give her affirmations. To me, that's feminism. I'm trying to let her know I'm on your team and I'm cheering for you. That's purposeful, intentional.
How do we multiply that? How do we broadcast
They
that?
better watch Jungle Road now.
That's right.
Well, that's a fact.
That's right.
But that's a fact, though.
It's a commercial.
Keep plugging.
We take plugs all day.
Set you up for that plug.
Yeah,
you know
right,
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But that's feminine. That's feminism to me. Like us doing those small intentional things, right? Knowing who's on our team. How do we cheerlead for the other women?
Right.
How do we give them the tools to see? We owe it to them to be the role model.
Yeah,
Right.
and
Like,
making
this is
sure
not
they
fake.
know.
When I'm saying to her, I'm like, you're so pretty. I'm thinking in my head, why wouldn't I articulate to her to let her know she's pretty? To let her feel more powerful and her superpower. So when she's talking and everything and I'm looking at her smiling saying, yes,
That's beautiful.
it probably makes her feel good.
That's beautiful.
And that's my intention.
Because Black beauty has never been at the forefront of media. Like, I work in
changing that.
aesthetics. I work in aesthetics, right? I don't see Black providers providing aesthetics to patients. Like, and if they are, the standard is white women
Right.
or exotic. Black women are exotic.
Which then goes back to the preservation. So Black women are, and you may know this, is it 16 times more liable to actually pass away from giving birth?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yes.
Is that 16? Is it 6? Is that?
It's very high.
Why?
High.
Like, why?
Our
you should have watched
Oh,
the
we had an
episode.
episode on that. No, I got
Here we go.
That's
We got an episode on that.
We talked about
Yes, we had
how-
Cassie Ann, Doctor of Nursing Practice,
Shout out to
Ken.
Cassie, yes.
Shout out to Cassie.
Casey.
Casey. Sorry, Casey.
Sorry, Casey.
Casey, who came on the show. She's a women's health provider to talk about the mortality of Black women during childbirth. And it goes back to our voices not being amplified, our conditions not being understood by the providers, our symptoms not being recognized. And we've experienced it.
all the time.
Well, I mean, that also goes back to them thinking that we're more tolerant of pain.
Pain.
Right.
You know, so
You've had Beyonce, you had Serena Williams, who had complications with their births. Serena had PEs, which are blood clots. And no one was listening to what she was saying. You have this woman of status,
Money, power, status.
and still no one's listening to what she's feeling. Her chest is hurting. She
that's
can't
crazy.
breathe. Just to name a few, and no one's listening.
Because in hindsight, they see how powerful we are.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like that's it's
Yeah.
no. I'm not. Listen, I'm not saying it in that way, but it's like when you think about so much pain that we go through. They so used to us going through pain, bro, and not really getting it. You understand what I'm saying?
Put us through
But
the
does that
majority of
dehumanize
it
Yeah.
as a
I
test.
think that dehumanizes
I think
us.
to them.
Yeah, it's almost like we're not equal humans, right? As we were
well,
written
you know,
into the
that's-
Constitution.
I read-
Exactly.
I read
You know?
this book, and I of course,
The
been
stamp.
drinking.
Is it stamp?
I can't remember. It's like I'll give you guys the name to put in the story show notes. But it was saying it goes back to slavery that they've tried to enslave other people, but they're not as strong or as tolerant as we are. So that's why we as Blacks, that goes back to our tolerance, our pain levels, and things like that. They had tried that. And no one else could get the job done. So that's why we became the enslaved. Our power is so fucking dope. And even to today, 2022, there are still things in place that limit us. Things that jobs, financial,
Health insurance.
mortgage loans, whatever,
Yeah.
things that keep us back from reaching our full
Still pushing
potential.
through.
Yeah. Still,
We're something different. We're definitely something special.
Ooh,
We are.
Lord,
Black
yeah.
people are definitely
we
something
are.
special.
And like I said, it wasn't until 5 years ago I wouldn't I knew, but I hadn't come into a space where I could fully say, "Damn, I'm proud to be a Black woman."
Yeah, that's what's up.
No, it's true. I talked to her about how I never told anybody at where I worked at. I never told them where I grew up at, and then I started to tell them. I said, "Yeah, I'm from Churchill South in New Haven,
Yeah.
across from the train station." You know, people are like, "Across from the train station." I'm like, "Yeah, that's where I grew up at." Oh, I would have never guessed. I would have never guessed the way you talk, the way you do. Like these are things saying. These are all offensive things being said.
Right.
All stereotypical shit.
You know, and I'm just like, but me, I'm logical. I self-reflect. I'm just like, it's your fault. You should have been told them who you were.
Right.
You should have never been embarrassed about who you were. Because obviously you were embarrassed, Jay.
Yeah.
And you didn't
But
say
you were
anything.
made to feel that wasn't good enough to be where you were at that time. Like, yes, you had control over it, but were you given the opportunity to fully say with acceptance where you were from?
Like she said, is it okay? Was it really okay for you to pull up to work listening to Jeezy? Why shouldn't you be able to do that? If that's, you understand what I'm saying? Like we judged off the rip when we pull up. Like when we pull up, like if I could be a doctor, bro, and I pull up and have, like she said, Jeezy playing, and they're gonna look at me like I'm the worst in the world.
Yeah.
But the hip hop culture is more accepted now with social media.
True.
You know, the TikToks, the dances, the this, the that, right?
True.
So social media can be.
Yeah, we just saw that white guy talking about, I'm just slanging with my dick. I'm
Yo,
like,
yo,
and
you
everybody
see-
thought that was cute.
You see, no, that's crazy.
Yeah, and everybody thought that was cute.
Yeah, that's
Let it be
crazy.
one of us, and they'll be like, oh, he fired from his job.
Yeah.
But it goes back
Yeah, it's
to
crazy.
them, to everyone else accepting what we've created, but not accepting us.
Yes.
Exactly. So social media, I think it's a platform for us to see who we are in a level of acceptance. But it's also a way for people to become depressed or sad or anxiety.
It's definitely
and
depressing.
Yeah, it could be.
It's definitely it's very depressing too, and this comes into play with women's empowerment. What you ladies cheat. It's definitely what the fuck were we just saying? I'm
about
sorry.
depression and what social media can stand for.
Well, it's depression
I got you,
to
twin.
We'll get him. We'll get him.
Like the young-
No worries. Don't worry about it.
the young
Okay. Okay.
Nobody wanted to take
Y'all
that
stay over
back
there.
shit anyway.
It's just Marley and me. It's Marley and me.
Marley and me. That's right.
Go ahead and trademark that on your phone real quick. I told her, go ahead and trademark that real quick on her phone real quick.
Yo.
But it's depression to our young black women.
Yeah.
It's very depressing.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because again, we channel ourselves into this small space.
And it creates unrealistic expectations. Let's
Exactly.
be honest.
Exactly.
Let's be honest.
Exactly.
It
Look
does,
like this.
but it depends on your mindset. It depends on your team. It depends on whether or not you know your superpowers. It depends on that. Because what other people may see is not what, let's be honest, it's not what you and I may see.
Yeah.
Right.
We're not going to be intimidated by whoever has larger breasts or stomach sucked out or whatever the case is.
Let me ask you that. I'm
No, I was
sorry.
gonna say, but then social media is attacking the children. I mean, they're catching them early.
Yeah.
But that's what I was about to ask her.
So-
Ask her at this age. I'm sorry, not to. At this age, at what point do you feel like that though? You know what I mean?
Like, they trying to come forward. They trying to
Hold on a second. Hold on a
At what
second.
age?
So at what age did you feel like you knew that? Like me, I could listen to anything. I was telling my man today. I said, yo, I'm kind of with the bullshit, but I'm not with the bullshit. Like I listen to all the wild rap shit, like the drill music and shit. But I can, you know what I mean? I know what I'm listening to. I did that shit before, like you know what I mean? Like I'm past that.
So it
The
doesn't
younger,
influence you.
exactly.
I think
Like
it's
you know what I mean?
different
Was
in
it?
generations too. I think it's
Excuse us, twin. Go ahead.
I think it's a difference in generations.
Excuse me, Dr. Marley.
sorry.
No.
Let
Go
me
ahead,
have my-
Marley. Let's continue
No,
to talk because this is the most you talk. This is the most you talk, and I don't know how
I was
long.
just gonna say, I
So-
think it's a difference in generations.
Yeah.
It kind of goes back to being exposed to both worlds. Like, I think this newer generation hasn't been exposed to anything other than Instagram,
Exactly.
Right.
Facebook. Like,
They're raised on it.
And
they're raised on
and
it.
they're
Like,
growing up
we
with
come in
one parent.
where we've seen the computer without Facebook, Instagram, all of that. So we know what reality is.
Right.
They've
But
only
I'm
seen.
still gonna go back to the home.
Okay,
Right?
go back
I'm
to
gonna go
home.
back to the home because what we stand on, the principles we stand on, it was like it's non-negotiable for you to be successful.
Right.
Right? My father like, oh, you're going to college. It's not even a question. Don't even play yourself and think that you're not.
Right.
So I feel like it goes back to the value system within the home, right? And so we can talk about what the generations do, what this one do, what everybody do, but it goes back to the home, right?
Yeah.
It goes back to the home, right? Why you such a fly dude, twin, is because you understand appearance is important, right? In your household and how you were raised.
You peep that?
So,
Twin.
Sure.
I saw that.
Twin.
I
You
wasn't
peep
gonna say nothing, but I
You
saw
peep
that.
that, twin.
so
Sure.
so it goes back to that, and I think we may have said it on an earlier episode. And I hate to keep bringing up Jungle Rose, but it's who we
That's
are.
That's what you're here for.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You are
but-
Jungle Rose.
So it goes back to the home values, and it goes back to men like you saying to your daughter, you're the best, you're the prettiest, you're the smartest, whatever the affirmations that you give to her, you feed to her before she goes out into the wild, to the jungle.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I think it goes back to that, because you and I could have grown up in the same generation, and your mindset and your values could be different than mine, right? So why I feel so confident to be who I am, why I feel so confident to be in a space that I don't really know, why I feel like I don't care if it offends you guys, but I have to pray because the values that was in my heart.
Right.
And it doesn't have to do with what you believe, or I'm not devaluing what your parents raised you with.
Exactly.
But these are my values, these are my principles that I stand on, and I never wavered in that.
Right.
And so people, and I think in my career, I may not have told them I was born in the jungle, but they knew who I was. They knew the rhythm that I walked through those hallways with, because I can't hide that.
Yeah.
You know, because I was always told to hold your head up,
Absolutely.
be smart.
Right.
A B is not good enough for you.
Yeah.
So those were the values and the principles that I grew up with. So social media, rap music, whatever, it doesn't impact me like it was somebody else who wasn't raised with those values, who wasn't taught that whatever's given to you, you don't just take it for face value. You gotta dig deeper.
Yeah.
And so because I was raised with that, you know, I love my father for that, because he really took time to do that with me. And I think it was more impressionable as me being daddy's girl.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's different. Mom and daughter, daddy's girl is like a different type of vibe.
Yeah.
And so because of that, because he did that, he was like my superhero. I held on to that stuff.
And I think that's an example of the father being in the home, like you were saying, how you
Absolutely.
have those affirmations.
Joe, we got
That's right.
Yeah, that's right.
For your daughter. I think those are very important. I
I
think that's very important to set the standard of what she should expect, what she should
Absolutely.
what she should grow up to be. Like, you're setting the platform for her, and she will never forget that.
And you guys are setting the tone for her.
Oh, exactly.
You know what I mean? So I want her to listen to you.
Yeah.
I want my sister to listen to both of you, my niece to listen to both, because it's important. It's that domino effect.
Yeah.
You know?
And I
But
just
are
want,
black women always open to supporting one another like that? Because we can be a little catty sort of thing,
I
like
understand.
I can't. I don't like what she had on. I don't like what she said. She didn't say that right, sort of thing. And I'm not saying that all black women are like that, but I think that sometimes social media and certain things try to pin us against one another.
Absolutely.
yeah.
And
Absolutely.
her and I in the room like, girl, like your shirt, you know, whatever.
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah, we dig up
and
there.
it's not being phony.
Right.
It's just
Yeah.
like we're gonna challenge the narrative that we're gonna pit each other against one another. And when I say hi to you, you're so beautiful and you look great in your picture, and I'm liking every single picture. It's intentional, it's purposeful, and it's not phony.
Yeah.
Because I want to show you
But
that
sometimes
you're worthy.
we're not
I
used
think
to
you're-
that.
I think you're amazing.
Yeah.
I think you're all that, and there's nothing behind it. I don't want nothing from you.
We need to help reprogram. It's a reprogramming. I mean, they can.
Yeah.
Our little girls can pick up on all these little dances
Yeah.
to go on to TikTok. We need to reprogram them into what you guys are actually stating
Well,
on a regular basis.
I think with me, I'm in a I'm in a sort of a different space
Okay.
right now in my life. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean, with growth and shit like that. So with me, it's like, it's not about even though not with you and Marley, you know what I mean. But going back to what you said as far as like
Thank
the
you,
way
Twin,
you
were listening.
yes, I was listening to you.
I can't stand
Yes, Twin, I was listening to you. But how you when you speak on when you touch on how you were raised in your home, you know what I mean, the things that were instilled into you, like you know what I mean. When we talk about a lot of stuff like social media, like that's not in home. You know what I mean? I'm at a place in life to where I want to figure out how do we get into the homes that don't have that support system.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? Because that's what we need for change. We don't need, out of all due respect, we don't need for you to tell your friend who's another grown lady that you look beautiful. We need to tell that little girl that's in that house that don't have that man, that father,
Yeah.
or that mother who's being a mother. You know what I mean? Because we have that a lot.
Yeah.
How do we get that? How do we instill that into them? That's where I'm at in life. You understand what I'm saying?
And I think go
I
ahead.
think we have to teach. So why we focus on the age group that we focus on, right? These are the women who are raising children. These are the aunties. We're super aunties, right?
Yeah.
These are the women who are raising.
Oh, y'all don't have no kids, right?
No,
I don't have no kids either.
I have Marley, my little puppy.
You have kids.
My little cowboy.
But
You see what? You see how people act when you got a puppy?
but no, that goes to another point.
Hold on, this is a personal
No, because I want to say
Twins
this
need to
before-
talk. No.
Tim's about to be
Right.
right.
But I want girls, black girls to know, I want black women to know that we understand their struggles, that we understand the dynamics. And I'm gonna tell this little story just so people can know. Like, people sometimes don't understand the family dynamics of a black family. Like, it's not just a mother and a father, right? Sometimes the father is absent. When I was in my doctoral program, I was raising my nephew.
Wow.
I had a 3.9 GPA. I was going to class one time, but I had this white colleague who was always competing with me. I damn near had a 4.0, 0.01 from a 4.0. Bitch, you don't know what I'm going through. I'm raising a child at home, going to sleep with my notes on. Like, and you want to compete with me?
Yeah.
I'm not here for competition. I'm trying to get through, like I said earlier, to feed my family.
Right.
You don't have those struggles. And I want people to know, no matter what your struggles are, you can still attain whatever it is that you want to do.
Exactly.
Like, I could not fathom her competing with me. She would, what'd you get on this? One test, I got 100 on the test. There was only 100. The teacher announced it. She was calling everybody to figure out who it was. And so she called a friend of mine. Did you get the 100? No. She's like, should I tell her you got it? At first I was like, no, don't tell her. I was being humble.
Tell her.
Tell the bitch I got the 100.
Oh my God. Come on, baby girl.
I'm sorry. But what I say that to say, I say that to say,
You do. Because that's terrible energy. Like,
it's
you know
terrible
what I mean?
energy,
Yeah, it's terrible
but you
energy.
don't know what the fuck I'm going through, and you want to put your pressures on me.
Right.
Like, I have somebody's child that isn't even mine that I'm raising.
Yeah.
And that's sometimes the dynamic of other women that are striving for things.
Yeah.
Like, we're trying to feed our family.
Exactly.
Bottom line, we're not going to school to get married.
Yeah.
That hypergamy.
It's survival for us.
Right.
It's survival.
It's survival for us.
It's survival.
So back to you talking about why not the little kids. We're already touching the lives of the little kids. I'm already sitting in the rooms with the people,
Right.
making sure I'm speaking for those little kids.
Right.
Wait, hold on, I gotta stop you. Her kids, her elementary students are seeing a principal that is a
looks like
black
her.
woman
Right.
that look like her.
Right. And that's why I applaud you, ladies.
I applaud you.
Thank you.
No, I never saw a black principal. Never. I never had a black principal in my life. I'm lying. I'm lying. I'm sorry.
No, but
I'm lying.
Let's go.
That
Rest in
Oh, wait,
peace.
she's lying.
Miss,
She's lying.
I
She's
lied.
lying.
With the
Miss
wild
Frazier.
hair.
Yo, Twin, she lying.
I did lie.
No, I'm just
I had
fucking
Miss
with
Frazier, Helen Grant Elementary,
Uh-huh.
and she's the reason I'm an AKA. But that goes back to show that representation matters. But
Right.
she was the only black principal I had, and I only had her until 4th grade. But
You want to hear something crazy?
Yeah.
I had a black teacher, Mrs. Johnson. What's up, Mrs. Johnson? I'll tell you about Mrs. Johnson. Mrs. Johnson told my mother and my father that I wouldn't make it in the real world
Wow.
because I wasn't street smart enough. What?
You know how many fucking teachers told me that I wouldn't be shit in life?
Because you too street smart.
But I mean,
Sorry,
at this point,
guys.
I'm in elementary school.
Yeah.
Like, why would you even say that?
Yeah.
To my
Be your own people sometimes.
Bro, I'm not even trying to be funny.
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep that shit a stack with you. I literally have niggas who have business degrees call me and ask to set up meetings and ask me, this is my word, well, do you want me to pay you to talk to you? Hell no. Come get this knowledge, bro.
That's right.
Just pass that shit along.
That's
You understand
right.
what I'm saying? Like
That's
you don't
right.
have you know firsthand, brother. Like we don't me and him, like he deals with a lot of business. We don't charge, we don't
A
deal
degree
with
doesn't make you.
A degree
A
does
degree
not
does
make
not
you,
make
and that's
you.
not why we did it. It was a survival tactic for us, and that was the one lane that we felt like we had to pave in
Right.
order for us to.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to go into business. When my father was driving me to UConn, I said, I want to go into business. I want to do something in fashion. I want to
Right.
And then I said to him, you know what I said? The hardest decision I had to make in my life. I said, Jay, you got to go into education. You know you're going to get a job as soon as you get out.
Mhm.
You're still going to help people.
Right.
You're still going to instill
That's
confidence
survival.
in people.
Right.
But I had to make that decision.
Mhm.
My father didn't tell me I had to make that decision. I felt
You
like
had
I
to
had
make
to
that
make
decision.
that decision. And I
Yeah.
never told him my thoughts.
Right.
But that was my thoughts as he was talking to me as I was driving up.
That's what make y'all so dope. Like, you know what I mean? Y'all made these decisions on your own.
You know what? The only problem I have with you, my non-twin,
Is that she's my twin.
no.
Let me get
Is
give me a shot at Delia.
Yo, you ready? You ready?
Fill her up.
You ready?
Here's the
Fill
only-
us up, man. This guy right here.
Let's
What's
go,
up,
man. What's up with this
I'm
guy
gonna tell you
right
like
here?
this. You
only
can't have her
problem
without
between-
me, so you better figure it out. We coming as a package deal.
The only problem I have with you, my non-twin, is the next time you come, you have to include us in the prayer.
Oh. Yeah.
I didn't want to
Offend.
but we're gonna close
Which
out.
is-
We're
which
gonna
is-
close out the right way. If
Yeah,
you guys
we'll-
don't
we'll-
mind,
we'll
it's your
close out the
platform.
right way.
We
let's
gonna close
Got
out. We
more in
gonna
it?
close out. No, I got
got
a little bit. I got a little bit.
Are we closing out now?
No, we gotta close out. We gotta close out now.
Oh God.
We gotta close out now. I
listen,
appreciate-
we
I
appreciate
appreciate
Before we,
y'all.
before
I
we
appreciate
close
y'all
out,
so
man,
much.
this was
Amazing. Did you guys love it? Our
I-
focus.
I
Can I just
do,
say where our
man.
focus for women is and why we focus on the age group that we focus
yes.
on?
I would love to hear
Because
it.
these are the women who are raising
Hold 'em up.
kids.
All right.
These are the women who are raising kids, and so we have to focus on them because they're running the household. So we can
Yes.
focus on the kids if we want to, but we're focusing on the people who are the most impressionists, the most who are doing the things that they need to do, who are running the household, who are setting the value system in the household. So that's our focus for them.
Yeah.
Jungle Rose.
Jungle
Jungle
Rose.
Rose.
Blessing,
Times
man.
for the record.
Thank
is
you,
a
God. Thank you,
blessing,
God, for
man.
this
And
experience.
as my daughter would say, be great, nothing less.
Right?
Nothing less.